Hello, it is Throwback Thursday, April 23rd, 2020. Steve Sipress here. Just got out here to catch the very end of another spectacularly beautiful sunset on another beautiful spring day here in sunny Arizona. It was definitely a pool day, and I hear the temps next week going to hit 100 degrees for the first time this year anyway. So I hear that one of these days, might be today, tomorrow, the NFL is holding their first ever online virtual draft. That's what they call it. I think the virtual draft. And it reminds me of a business lesson, but first a little story about, I remember watching the very first ever televised draft. It was way back. I don't know. I was in law school at the time, I believe, just out of out of college. No, I was in college, right. I was in college, just out of high school, and ESPN, the All Sports Network, or the initials stand for Entertainment and Sports Network, Programming Network, ESPN, had just started, and they landed the NFL draft, which of course had never been on TV because just a bunch of old guys making telephone calls and sitting at desks, and nobody thought that was anything. And college football wasn't even a big thing on TV back then, so nobody knew who any of the players were except for a few, and nobody knew who any of the GMs were making the draft picks and the whole thing. But ESPN, back then I remember watching it, and they would have a lot of obscure sports like auto race, nothing live, but they would have repeats of auto racing and martial arts competitions, and Australia rules football. I remember that one, and all kinds of obscure recorded only events. And this was like one of their first ever live events, and certainly the first thing they ever did with any legitimate big time thing. The NFL, and today I believe, I don't know, but maybe, of course, I would have nothing to do with the allowing their players to control them. NFL allowing them to protest in uniform where they're supposed to be working, and they're allowed to protest. That's how weak the owners are. So of course I would have nothing to do with that league, but back in the day I did, and I knew it was on ESPN back there. I remember it was on during a weekday. It wasn't on, I think, well, what's today? Now it's on a weekday again, I guess, but I thought they went to like a Sunday. I don't remember, but anyway, I know it was on the middle of a week, middle of the day, middle of the week, and they only showed like the first round or the first half of the first round or something like that. I think, or it was the first day, so it was like the first round and maybe a few picks the second round, and that was it. But anyway, so here's the business lesson of the day. The NFL is promoting this as their first ever online, virtual, whatever they're calling it, the first ever online or virtual draft. I forget what they call it. And back in the day, what I'm talking about, 40 years ago or something, was the first ever televised draft. And that brings to mind a key word that you really must find a way to use to describe your products, your services, your business overall, you as a business owner and entrepreneur. It's the word first. It's extremely powerful. Puts you in what is known in advanced marketing circles as a category of one. There can only be one first. So there can be all kinds of people that claim they're the best. You ever order a pizza? I mean, it's like pre-printed boxes that say you've tried the rest, not tried the best. It doesn't, they're delivered to 400,000 different pizza places. So anyone can say they're the best, but only one can say they're the first in any given category. So here's the thing. You might be watching this video going, yeah, but I'm not the first dentist in my town. Okay, very likely true. Be very strange if you were. Maybe in some really far out, strange, lightly populated town. However, you need to find a way that you are the first of a certain type of dentist in that town, or the first dentist to offer a certain type of service in that town. And that could even be just the way you do business. The first dentist ever to have an upscale waiting room in the town of Podunk, Nowhereville. The first dentist ever to guarantee that we'll see you on time for your appointment or else your appointment's free. The first ever dentist to allow you to come in and not make a payment until 60 days after all the work was performed. On and on and on. Find out a way to be the first, to put yourself in a category of one, because only you can claim that. Somebody else can come later and go, well, now I'm also guaranteeing people get seated on time for their appointment, or I'm also allowing people to make payments over time. Yeah, but you were first, and you're always going to be first. So you might just lazily think, and it's okay, we all do that until we get really into marketing, advertising, persuasion, sales, communication, influence, manipulation, whatever you want to call it. You get deep into this stuff, but brand new, it's not expected that you walk around thinking of these things. You usually walk around thinking the opposite. Oh, that won't work. I don't know how to do that. I'm not first at anything. I'm not the first. Find a way. Find a way. Find a way to make sure you apply the word first as much as you can to your products, your services, your business, your employees, company, everything. Find a way. ESPN just did it. They had their first ever televised draft decades ago. But today, or tomorrow, or yesterday, whenever it was, they're having their first ever online draft, their first ever virtual draft. What, does that make it better? No. See, it doesn't have to be better. It just has to be first. This is the first ever. Now, so they're turning a negative, and you can do that. They're turning a negative into a positive. Of course, it's a negative that they don't have all the fans there live booing all the picks and doing whatever. They don't have all the excitement. They don't have everybody in one room. All the owners or GMs or whoever all huddled in the same room with their team name signs on the desk, and they can walk around and talk to each other and make trades, and the players right there in the room coming up on stage with the commissioner and making a big deal out of it. No, they don't have any of that. They're like individually in every single owner or GM's home or whatever, and the commissioner and the players and all that kind of stuff, so they could say, oh man, this is going to suck. We don't get to make the big dog and pony show and the big production out of it, and somebody had enough sense, and it wasn't from watching this video because I hadn't recorded it at the time, but you have the advantage. You've seen this video. Now you go out and do what they did and say, yeah, but let's just call this the first ever online draft. Is that better? No, of course not. But it's the first. Gets a lot of attention. Gets a lot of pizzazz. Goes a long way towards convincing people to do business with you when you are the first of anything. So find a way to be first. That's the lesson for Throwback Thursday today. I'm losing the light, so I'm going to end the recording. Oh, I see a whole bunch of people here. Any questions, comments? Jeff Smith says, personalized engraved baseball bat. There you go. Jeff Smith, are you telling us that you own the first ever personalized engraved baseball bat? If not, and if there is, yeah, pretty much every major leaguer has their own name engraved into their wooden bats, the Louisville Sluggers or whatever. But maybe you can have, I know you're in woodworking, right, Jeff? So maybe you can create the first ever personalized engraved baseball bat for high school kids or whatever. But it could be the process, could be the equipment, could be the material, could be the timing, could be the payments, could be a guarantee, could be the location, could be anything at all. Make sure you use the power of the word first in your marketing. And Phil is here. Good seeing you. That'll do it for Throwback Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow. I was going to say first thing tomorrow, but it won't be first thing tomorrow. But I'll be back tomorrow. On Foundation Friday, we're going to dip into another in our multi-part series on the fantastic, timeless book full of great advice, How to Be Rich by J. Paul Getty. And Jeff says, a service. Great. Find a way to say first. Do something that no one's ever done before. That'll help you get a lot of attention, make a lot of sales, make a lot of money with a lot less stress. Because to me, that's what running a business should be all about during our current fascist, overstepping government, shutdown, lockdown, quarantine, destroying businesses time. Obviously there's a lot of stress. But normally, until about a month ago, you were able, believe it or not, in America, you had the freedom to run a business if you wanted. Who knew that now a lot of people don't? Anyway, that'll do for Throwback Thursday before I get off on a rant and the lights go off from the sun going down. That'll do it. I'll catch you tomorrow on Foundation Friday. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jeff, for participating. Anyone else for liking, sharing, put any comments below wherever you're watching, reading, or listening to this. Always respond when appropriate and find a way to get the notifications. I record this on my business page. You can like that page, facebook.com/smallbizhelp, B-I-Z, and you can figure out how to get notifications, come on live, and interact. Ask me some questions, make a comment, anything at all. Love it. That'll do it for today. Catch you tomorrow. Over and out. Bye-bye.